Have you ever felt forgotten? Stuck in a situation that seems endless, with no way out? Let me tell you about a young man named Joseph, whose story might just change how you view your own waiting seasons. Picture this: a dark, damp Egyptian prison cell. Inside sits Joseph, once his father's favorite son, now stripped of everything: his fancy coat, his freedom, his family. But here's what's remarkable: even in these harsh conditions, Joseph didn't let bitterness take root in his heart. One morning he notices two fellow prisoners, the Pharaoh's former cupbearer and baker, looking particularly troubled. Instead of being consumed by his own problems, Joseph does something unexpected. He asks them, "Why do you look so worried today?" They tell him about disturbing dreams they've had, and no one can interpret them. Now, this is where Joseph's character truly shines. Despite his circumstances, he immediately points to something bigger than himself. "Don't interpretations belong to God?" he says. He doesn't claim any special power. He knows exactly where wisdom comes from. The dreams are intense. The cupbearer sees a vine with 3 branches bearing ripe grapes, which he presses into Pharaoh's cup. The baker sees 3 baskets of bread on his head, but birds are eating from them. Through God's guidance, Joseph reveals that the cupbearer will be restored to his position in 3 days, while the baker, sadly, would face execution. Everything happens exactly as Joseph interpreted. Happy ending, right? Well, not quite. See, Joseph had asked the cupbearer to remember him when he was restored to his position. "Mention me to Pharaoh," he had said. "Get me out of this prison." But the cupbearer, in his joy of freedom, completely forgot about Joseph. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, months into years. 2 full years to be exact. Can you imagine maintaining hope for that long? Most of us get frustrated when our Wi-Fi takes 2 minutes to connect, let alone waiting 2 years for a promise to be fulfilled. But here's the beautiful twist in Joseph's story. What seemed like a cruel delay was actually divine timing. During those 2 years, God was positioning everything perfectly. When Pharaoh finally had his famous dreams, the cupbearer suddenly remembered Joseph, and within hours, Joseph went from prisoner to prime minister of Egypt. You see, sometimes what feels like being forgotten is actually being prepared. Those 2 years weren't just about waiting, they were about growing, learning, and developing the character needed to handle the massive responsibility that was coming. If you're in your own waiting season right now, remember Joseph's story. Delays are not denials. God's timing isn't just good, it's perfect. Even when it feels like you're stuck in a prison of circumstances, you might just be in a preparation period for something beyond your wildest dreams. Because sometimes, the darkest prison cell can become the pathway to your greatest purpose.